welcome to the reading part of Power. It's the best one because it's the if you get my drift. We're going to be talking about what we've been reading. My name is Maude Garrett. Trisha Hirschberger is joining us. Reading is comics or books and books, anything that your eyeballs can run over or your ears can listen to and hear a bunch of words that are, I love being read to, let's be real. I'm such an Audible convert. And I will never look back. Reading's going to be fun because this is what we have been getting stuck into. But before we kick this off, Amy Cassandra Martinez from Geek Bomb has a little bit of reading news that she's going to delve in. Sup, Amy? Sup.
Yes, so Alien and Predator comics. I think we're kind of keeping with the horror sci-fi theme. Right. So Marvel has acquired the rights to Alien and Predator from Dark Horse. So Dark Horse Comics has actually held the publishing licenses for both Alien and Predator since 88 and 89. So right now the plan is just for the Alien and Predator comics to, quote, expand on the characters and settings of the various Alien and Predator movies. So that doesn't mean that Alien or Predator will be fighting Iron Man or anything. But, like, that'd be interesting.
There have been, over the decades, like, a lot of crossovers where, like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show up with the Archie comics, you know, like, all get together.
That's so weird.
Yeah, all of the characters. But then, I think there has been Alien v Predator, like, in comic book form, if I'm not mistaken. It's definitely been in the movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, they were both from Dark Horse before, so I'm sure Dark Horse could do their own, you know, licensed crossovers anytime they wanted, but having crossovers with Marvel could be really fun. I mean, just like, let's think of some fun crossovers that could maybe happen. I mean, are we like Avengers versus Xenomorphs?
No, I wanted Predator versus Wolverine.
Okay.
Let me have it.
It definitely could happen. I am so, like, obviously, I mean, I named my son Logan. Obviously, I'm a huge Wolverine fan. But I'm also...
I named my son Sabretooth. That's so weird.
Oh my gosh, what a coincidence!
They're born mortal enemies. My son will destroy... No, I'm kidding.
It's true. Yeah, I would love to say that Logan would kick Predator's butt. But I don't know if that's true.
Alien v Predator?
No, like Wolverine v Predator. I don't know that Wolverine would necessarily kick Predator's butt. I would love to say that's true, but I mean, Predator is so OP. Say that again, Maude?
The good thing about Wolverine is that his butt will regrow.
If he's given time, he can reheal, yeah.
Now I'm interested.
So many possibilities, says Sprinkles the Dragon Cat in chat. Yes. But Nathan brings up that regular people have defeated Predator before. That's true. I just never really buy it.
Why?
It's a movie. It's not real life.
I know. Fiction is kind of real to me, though.
No, but yeah. So if it's the humans have defeated Predator, like, I don't.
Yeah, but there's like a group of people.
It's a bunch. See? Yeah.
It's scary, but at the end of the day, it's still an alien. Predator is literally like a killing entity. Like, it goes invisible. It has heat seeking. Like, its primary purpose is to hunt and destroy.
Yeah.
An alien's just trying to live, man. They're just procreating because that's what biology is telling them to do.
But to procreate and eat, they have to destroy.
Yeah, but it's still biology. I don't know. I'd love to have a wine talking about this.
That'll be a full power down at some point.
Yes, it will. No, listen, guys. Seriously, the tentacles. No.
It's true. All right, thank you, Amy, for telling us what's going off. We'll see you back in just a little bit with Bombs Away. All right, Maude, time to get into what you and I are reading. What have you been reading?
All right, the first one that I want to get started with, what a beautiful cover. This is Primer. This is actually a new one out by DC. And what is so cool about this, it's a graphic novel about a brand new superhero that my friends created. I did a podcast for the last 2 years with Tom Krajewski, and I'm really good friends with Jennifer Muro, who have teamed up to create Primer. And what's so great about this is that they're focusing on not only a younger, like she's a tween-age, sort of like teenage superhero, but it involves art, and it also talks about the foster care system, which we haven't really seen since Shazam in terms of superhero movies. So I think that kind of representation is super important. But I'll read you a little bit of the blurb here.
Please do.
13-year-old Ashley Rabin is an upbeat girl with a decidedly downbeat past. With a father in prison, Ashley has bounced from foster home to foster home and represents a real challenge to the social workers who try to help her, not because she's inherently bad, but because trouble always seems to find her. Things start looking up for Ashley when she finds new, loving parents, a best friend, and an outlet for her creative skills. But her life quickly gets more complicated when she also finds a suitcase full of specially enhanced body paints, changing her from artist to the world's newest superhero. It's the greatest thing to ever happen in her life so far, until Ashley finds herself pursued by a government agency that wants those paints back. Now she has to make hard choices to protect her new parents and learn what it truly means to be a family. Isn't that the cutest? But the colors in this, like the artist is...
Show us the art. Show us the art.
I mean, it's body paints. So, ooh, come on, camera. So a lot of the time when she's... using the superpowers, like right at the start, so this is not so spoiler, but isn't that even that, like,
that's beautiful,
stunning. She activates the powers by putting the body paint on, and so 3 different paints represents 3 different abilities here. So she uses like invulnerability, fire, and I think it's like strength.
But does she stream her body painting? The world needs to know.
Does she what?
Stream it.
Right, she's 13. She probably knows her way around that.
Yeah. Does she stream the body painting?
Is amazing. It's doing really, really well, like in bookshops and conventions as well. But the fact that it's a DC property, massive. The other book that I'm reading at the moment is one called Black Leopard, Red Wolf. It's by a Black author called Marlon James. We are covering this book on Nerdist Book Club. And it's really interesting because like during the whole Black Lives Matter movement, where we really had to reflect, what is your relationship with Black artists, Black creators? Like, are you only kind of in your own echo chamber of people that look like you? And I remember thinking, I don't even know if I really know or have read any Black authors. So for me, this was a really, really big deal. I spoke to my parents about Marlon James, and they're like, he's such a good writer. He won the Booker Prize. He has written a bunch of other books, but this one is the first book where he delved into fantasy, and it's supposed to be the Game of Thrones in the African kind of like using African lore. To me, I've read Game of Thrones. They're nothing like this. This is such a clever, fantastic, smart, well-written book, but I have to give a trigger warning. There is a lot of sexual violence in this book, and it is really hard to stomach a lot of the time, and it is relentless. But in terms of like, if you kind of put that aside, the way that they unravel the story, it's a detective horror, like so many different genres in it. But I remember talking to my mum and dad, and I'm like, I'm covering this book for Nerdist, and it's like, it's the first chapter, this happened, and I was like, I don't like that. And they were like, why do you think that he feels it necessary to bring these particular things up? And maybe his whole point is to make you uncomfortable, because these are real things that can happen.
Right.
And you are in your little bubble where it's super safe and everything's wonderful, but that is not a reality for a lot of people. And so this discomfort that you're feeling, sit in it. Like really kind of like get to know this. And as soon as you kind of understand that, the point and the purpose, and even discovering that Marlon James is a gay writer as well, seeing that sort of relationship of sex and gay relationships in the book, and it just kind of provided like another sort of layer on understanding. and I'm really enjoying it now. And I'm listening to the audiobook, and the narrator uses an African accent in it as well. But it's an anything goes kind of world building scenario, which keeps you on your toes the entire time. Yeah, and there are like trolls and ogres, but they're not ogres or giants, they're ogos. So it's like, it's a lot, but I am really enjoying the process. Nerdist Book Club has been, I mean, we only have an hour and we never get to say everything in that particular hour. Thank goodness for the Geek Bomb after show where we can actually explore a lot more of it. But if you are looking for a Black author and that's something that upon understanding you'll be experiencing a lot of, can handle that, I actually do recommend the book.
Awesome.
But a lot of audiences are split because I am like deep into the Reddit for this one, the subreddit. And you're either, this is the best book I've ever read in my life, or this is way too much for me and I actually don't think I can continue with the book, or I can't recommend the book to people. But we were just talking earlier with The Last of Us 2, where it's like, you don't enjoy it, but it's really, really good. That is exactly the same with this book. I am not enjoying it, but I'm really glad I'm reading it.
Well, and a lot of people in Twitch chat right now are bringing this up. They're like, this is the literary version of The Last of Us. And also in the way that you said, you know, maybe because of having that real kind of oppressively dark feeling when you're going through it, that it perhaps that's also why it's so divisive. I mean, The Last of Us is incredibly divisive as well. So if you're finding that with the subreddit for this book, it could be a similar thing. Yeah.
But there you go. What are you reading at the moment?
I am reading, these have been around for a long, long time. I'm reading the Fables comics.
I've only played the games. What are the comics like?
Oh, you played the Telltale games?
Yeah.
So the Telltale games are what got me into Fables, actually. And Vertigo did release, based on the Telltale games, its own series, the Wolf Among Us series, in conjunction with the games. But then, of course, so this is set in the Fables universe, but it's the same storyline that you see in the games, but done in the Fables art style. A little bit more of the Wolf Among Us art style is mixed in here, but that got me into the original Fables comics, which you can see here.
That's
I'm going to switch over. The only downside to these having been out a while is that it can be a little bit harder to find certain volumes because they're, you know, no longer in print. But my husband has gone to enough conventions with me where I walk up to every small comic retailer and I'm like, and do you have Fables Volume 2, please? That he hunts them down for me every time there's like a holiday or something that we need a present for. So I don't want to... here's a good page. I don't want to give any spoilers, but just so you can kind of see the art style. This is, spoiler warning, this is not your children's fairy tales. This is very dark. No. You can see it says there, no more happily ever after. In fact, Logan got his hands on one of these books and thought it was a fairy tale and started flipping through and was like, Mommy, can you read this book? And I had to on the fly edit so much out. I was like, oh yeah, that's Big B Wolf and that's Snow White, and they're going to visit Belle, and she said some things that weren't very nice, and then they went and investigated over here, and then they found someone in danger. Flip the page really fast so you can't see that. Or like, here's a room all covered in blood. That's something we quickly edit out when you're reading to your 3-year-old. But, you know, he looked at the cover, and he recognized Little Boy Blue blowing his horn. You know, and like Logan's like, gets real excited. And I'm like, yeah, this is the grown-up version, though. And it is very dark. It's violent and sexy. And I kind of love it. And here, hold on. I just want everyone to like, look at that art right there.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing.
Just because. So there's a lot of people who say that the show Once on ABC was completely ripped off after someone came in and pitched a Fables TV show. Because it is. I mean, this is the people you know from fairy tales existing in our current dark real world and what that means for these people. And yeah, right? So light bulb goes off, and apparently people were going around trying to pitch a Fables TV show, and then like a couple of years later, Once came out. So as much as I enjoy Once, I will say that probably had something to do with it. Go read the source material. It's really good.
Oh, play the game. The game.
Oh, NBC. And Once Upon a Time, and it's an NBC show. There we go. Thank you, guys. But it's always once real big and then upon a time all tiny underneath it. Sorry, I have a visual memory. But yes, on NBC, not ABC. But yeah, so that's what I'm reading right now, and that's what I recommend.
I would love to hear what everyone else is reading in those comments. I always read the YouTube comments afterwards. So please join in the discussion there. And if you are watching live, hey. But it is now time for Bombs Away Q&A with Amy Cassandra Martinez, you know, from Geek Bomb. She's been compiling the questions not only on patreon.com/geekbomb, but she's also going to be checking out the feed right now when we are live. And she's going to get one from the Dragon Riders too. But what's our first question, Amy?
So this one is from Terry. I know Maude is gray, but anyway, Jedi or Sith? And also Trish, Jedi or Sith?
Real life Jedi, wannabe Sith. I always like playing the evil characters. Who is Zelda, Jedi or Sith?
Oh, Zelda's a little Sith bitch. But she's got her red bows in. They're not blue. Dun, 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 dun. I have thought, what was I talking about recently? Where every time I'm playing a video game in an RPG way, and it's like, so what do you think we should do? Should we send this person back to their family, or should we just kill them? I'm like, send them back to the. Are you kidding me? But every time I'm doing an in-person tabletop kind of like role playing, I'm not good at all. So what does that say? Like when I'm playing a character in a video game making choices, I'm always good. But when I'm in person, chaotic neutral.
Maybe it's because when you're playing a character in video game, you feel responsible for your actions, but in a tabletop RPG, you're giving yourself free reign. I don't know.
Yeah, that totally checks out.
Yeah.
Question from Terry, though. I liked that one. Is there one from the Dragon Raiders?
Yes, Mighty X29 asks, who would win in a fight? Inspector Gadget or Jar Jar Binks?
Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget's awesome.
Gumbies, aren't they? They're both like dead set Gumbies. I used to, when I played netball, netball's not a sport in America, but when I used to play netball, it's kind of like basketball, but you can't dribble and move. I was called Inspector Garrett because anytime someone tried to throw the ball over me, I'd be like, go, go, Garrett arms.
Very nice.
Sorry. So I'm going to say Inspector Gadget because of that.
I would say Inspector Gadget because now forgive me, I'm not remembering Inspector Gadget lore super well. But I think that those were all modifications that were built. So technically, he could make new modifications and be constantly upgrading himself, which I would think would give the advantage over Jar Jar.
He would have the springs in his shoes. He would have the hat, the
propeller.
Hat. Yep, that hat had a lot in there.
Mm-hmm.
For my 21st birthday, when I dressed up as Snow White, my soon-to-be boyfriend, as of that night, came as Inspector Gadget, and he actually built from a bucket hat a thing that held out a hand with a microscope. What is it called? Magnifying glass on it. I was like,
impressive.
That's how you do it. I'm in love.
Very impressive.
It was. So I'm going to say Inspector Gadget from bias as well.
Aww.
Even though I dressed up as Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, and I want to fact check real quick. Once Upon a Time was the name of the TV show, and it was on ABC, not NBC. Which makes sense because they're dealing with characters like Snow White and Cinderella and all those characters. But awesome. Amy, thank you so very much for the questions. And thanks to everyone who's watching or who's on Geek Bomb, who submitted the questions. You guys are awesome. Amy, we will see you in just a bit for the Power Down after show over on Geek Bomb. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching this week's Power Up. I hope you got some new recommendations to play, watch, or read this week with Maude and I. Next week is very exciting. It will be a guest week again, right?
Yes, guest is going to be next week. You betcha.
Awesome. And we can't tell you who it is just yet, but I know you're going to be excited about it. So make sure that you tune in next Friday. The time will be a little bit earlier. I'll make sure to post it on the Twitch schedule so that you know what time that's going to be, and in the Discord as well. If you have not joined the Discord for the Dragon Riders or Geek Bombs Discord, please go ahead and do that. You guys are awesome. It was great hanging out. I agree, Dante Bogdan. And thank you all so much for being here. Welcome to the new followers who are here today. Please know I appreciate you. The next time that I will be streaming is Sunday morning. I will be playing more The Last of Us 2. I'm starting the game. It's on Sunday morning. My playthrough is currently at Seattle Day 2. So I'm starting at Seattle Day 2. So if you're worried about spoilers, you are probably further in the game than I am. But yeah, come on and hang out. And if we need to take a sanity break at any point to kind of like, chill out, then maybe we'll do some like just chatting or play some Magic the Gathering or whatever. But that's going on with me on Sunday. Maude, the next time they can see you, I assume, is on Fresh Daily.
That's the one, Monday through Friday. It's been my show lately. So please support me doing my thing if you have the Quibi app. It's like $4.99 with ads, $7.99 without. But you get to flip it! That's cool. Anyway, join me on my show, guys.
And Amy, when can people see you? Voice of Amy, that will come in just a moment.
Yes, live. I do a horror show. Hey. I do a horror show Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific time. That kind of just changes a little bit sometimes. But yeah, that's on youtube.com/Amy Cassandra Mod.
What? It's a horror show. I'm bringing
I know. Is that the dun 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 dun, or is that Truth or Dare?
What are you talking about?
Those are horror movies.
What?
Dun,
That's
dun,
that.
dun, dun. And then there's also. Anyway, I talk about horror movies.
There you go.
If you need more horror content, go to Amy and not Trisha and Maude. That's what we have just learned right here. Awesome. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Don't worry, Power Down's going to be coming out soon, and we're going to start that now.